Hi everyone, my name is Erin Elizabeth Wamberg. Thank you so much for choosing to be here with me today. Welcome back if you've been here before, and welcome if you're new here. Today we have a full moon in Scorpio, and so I will be doing your tarot card picker reading in that way. And just full moons are about releasing energy, so I'll be reading the cards in a way that's about letting things go, cycles ending, things you can maybe reflect on letting go, any and all of that. So I have 3 groups for you today. Group 1, Group 2, and Group 3. You can pick by the number, by the card you can see, anything that resonates for you. And when you're ready, all the timestamps are below, and I'll see you at the reading that you chose. Hi everyone, welcome. This is for everyone who picked group number 1. So as a reminder, this is a full moon reading, so I will be reading the cards in that way in terms of releasing and letting things go. But you all picked the card, Our Lady of the Inner Gate. So this is a Mother Mary deck. Very beautiful. I love this card. See, the heart is on fire. The hands are open. I mean, a lot of beautiful imagery on this card. So this card is really about Mother Mary, God, Spirit, whatever you identify with, kind of guards our hearts and is always on the other side of helping initiate us into like these next layers of our lives. So it might not seem like that. And there's a lot of things that we wouldn't choose for ourselves to have happen to us or for us or any and all of that, but those things actually are for our highest good, and they kind of initiate us into these higher realms of connecting to ourselves, of connecting to our higher power, connecting to our faith in the universe and God, with all of that. And so this is a reminder that Our Lady of the Inner Gate, that, you know, our heart is being gate kept by God. And there are these forces at play that are protecting us, and there are things that we would, again, definitely not choose for ourselves that are brought into our lives to be able to help us gain either the spiritual development or the way we view ourselves, our faith in God, anything like this, to help us get to that next level, that next layer. So I feel like with this full moon for this card, for group 1, for you guys, you can think about, you know, what story am I telling about this certain situation that is, you know, coming from a place that like God doesn't love me. Because if you really believe in your heart that God is our protecting friend, God is someone who looks out for us, God is this energy of like loving us unconditionally, then that can't coexist with like, oh, I'm being punished because this thing is happening to me. And so this isn't like, you know, oh, God loves me, so God's putting me through this hardship, right? Like, we're not talking about that. We're talking about like, God, things happen on earth that they don't feel the best. They're not again, things we would choose for ourselves, but God doesn't do that to punish us. God gives us that so that we rely on God and build our inner strength to be able to get through these things. So Our Lady of the Inner Heart, or the Inner Gate, is just reminding us, you know, when we have this burning heart, and we feel like I can't get through this, I can't do this, opening your arms up to pray, opening your hands up to pray, to accept, to like ask God to have mercy on you, can really be such a healing practice that sometimes we forget to rely on. And so this card is a reminder, you know, again, like, can I stop these stories of like, oh, I'm being punished, woe is me, why would God have this happen? And just remember, like, life happens on life terms, and if God only punished people that God didn't like, no, that's everyone. You know, no one has a life where something has happened that no one has had a life where nothing has happened that we didn't want, right? So like, we all have hardship, we all have trials, we all have all of that. So this card is just a reminder that while it might feel very painful and confusing, just remember, you are being guided, you are being protected, and, you know, trying to separate out these things, life on life's terms and life on earth is different than like God punishing us in this way. So kind of a heavy message for you, group 1. So if you're struggling, I'm sending you a lot of love right now. Okay, hang in there. Things will shift with that. But I am going to read your tarot, and then I'll do your oracle cards after that. So we have 7 of Pentacles. Then we have Page of Wands. Then we have 9 of Cups. Then we have the Empress, love her. Then we have 5 of Cups in reverse. And then closing your reading, we have 3 of Wands. Okay, so I feel like you really need to take a pause, group 1. I feel like with this Our Lady of the Inner Gate, like just even taking a break and taking space for things is really important. And then the 7 of Pentacles is really about like taking a moment to pause and look at all that you've done, look at all the work you've done on yourself, look at all the journeys you've gone through, look at all the heart openings you've had, look at all these ways that you've, been able to expand into abundance and awareness. And this is really just, taking a pause to reflect, to not only reflect, but also to be like, wow, I'm proud of myself. Like I've done a lot. I did a pretty good job. I put a lot of time and inner work in. I've shown up for myself. I'm willing to show up for myself, right? It's really easy to just put the blinders on and be like, I don't want to look at this. I don't want to do this. But the Seven of Pentacles is really reminding you, like, take a step back, think about what you've done, take a moment to, Pentacles representing abundance, to just look at all the ways that you have created this abundance in your life, and the ways that you can allow that abundance to thrive in so many different ways. And just really, again, being proud of the work you put in, proud of the ways that you've been able to do that and show up for that. Because this Page of Wands is like new energy, fresh energy, like feeling invigorated, feeling proud of yourself. So maybe if you've just been like on the grind, blinders on, I gotta go, I have to move forward, I have to do this. If you've just been doing that, then this Page of Wands can sometimes be about like, just getting some re-energizing yourself, taking a step back, taking a moment to pause, taking a moment to reflect inwardly and be like, okay, wow, actually look at all the stuff I have been doing. Look at all these amazing things that are in my life because of what I've been doing and what's been happening. And really, Nine of Cups is about wishes fulfilled. So because this is 3 different suits, I feel like there's some energy around like noticing this in all areas of your life. So not just in work, or not just in your relationships, or not just in your relationship with yourself or your relationship with God. This is like noticing the ways that you've been able to do this in all areas of your life, and just kind of being proud of yourself, and just taking a moment to really like, like not going into ego stuff here, but just really honoring and celebrating like the things you've put in for yourself, the ways you've shown up for yourself, the things you've done for yourself, just the ways that you've shown up and been able to make things happen. So just taking a moment to be reflective and kind of like getting that re-energizing energy back. And I feel like going along with this Our Lady of the Inner Gate, because this seems like opposing energy to that, but to me this feels like if you can tap into this and hold this energy, then this will be so much easier to understand. And just being like, oh yeah, I've gone through trials and hardships before, I've shown up for myself before, right? New level, new devil is what they say. So like we go through these things, and we have to have these shifts and things going on in our lives so that we can grow and expand on the soul level. And so I feel like if you take a moment to reflect, kind of put some energy in yourself and look at all the things that you have created in your life, you will be able to, it will kind of take the focus off of like, oh my God, why is this happening? This is so hard. I hate everything. What's going on? Blah, 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 blah. And instead just being like, okay, I've done this. Like this might be a new way of applying my spiritual toolkit, of applying the ways I have to show up for myself. But these are all things I've done before and things I can move through to grow into this next layer of myself and my life. Because after that, we have the Empress. So regardless of your gender, the Empress is really about like having creative energy, feeling abundant, feeling like just in the flow with everything. Like you can channel things, new things can happen, new ideas can come out. So I feel like this is about really like getting a reinvigoration after pulling your energy back from like, woe is me, why is this happening, all of that, and instead moving back into like, okay, actually, I have more power than I believe, and things not going the way I think they should doesn't mean, again, something bad about me. It doesn't mean I'm being punished. It doesn't mean whatever, any of that. It just means that this is just a time for me to tap into my own inner strength. And like, sometimes these situations happen outside of us so that we can be reminded of our own strength, or we can unlock a new layer of our own strength that we wouldn't on our own. And that doesn't mean, again, that we condone these situations, or that we want to be like, yeah, God, give me more trials and hardships, like we're not doing any of that. But this is just a reminder that, when you do show up for yourself and you do have these different things going on in your life, and you are able to grow on that soul level, then that is a time for you to remember that inner divinity and like inner initiation, and just remember that these things are orchestrated, because as humans, we like being comfortable. We like doing things that feel familiar to us. We like doing things that feel good to us. And so if I don't have to be pushed out of my comfort zone, why would I, right? And so that's why God orchestrates some of these things for us, so we can get pushed to this next layer and this next level with that. because then we have the Five of Cups in reverse. So I feel like this, again, just this more energy, these two together, this more energy of feeling like really clear in who you are, really aware, really abundant. And then this Five of Cups in reverse, like it won't be as painful. It won't be as much mourning. It won't be as like, you'll be really more like connected to your power and clear about who you are with this than, you know, if this, like, I feel like it's just getting out of this energy of like, I'm being punished, or this isn't working, or what am I supposed to do? And instead moving into like this really empowered, tapped in energy. And then from there, we have the Three of Wands, which is about, you know, again, more contemplative energy. So I think this is really nice to have your reading bookmarked with like two reflective, thoughtful cards of being still, being thoughtful. And this Three of Wands just about, you know, taking a moment to breathe in, to just like be a little more reflective. So I feel like with this full moon, again, you want to release some of like the painful stories you've been telling yourself, but also release some of the ways that maybe you feel like something going the way you didn't think it was going, those punishments. So really allowing space for, you know, a new story to come in, for new possibilities, for like, you know, sometimes I like to imagine, okay, if God was explaining to me why this was happening right now, what are some things that, you know, God could be telling me? It could be so I can learn patience, so I can learn strength, so I can take care of this other thing that I'm pretending like I don't need to be taking care of, right? Like, you know, so just trying to open up the imagination in that way, and in a way that actually is fulfilling and clear, instead of, you know, shutting down and just being like, you know, like why is this happening to me? I can't move forward. I can't do that. But so a lot of reframe energy, a lot of calling your power back, a lot of remembering where you still have your own power, your own connection to yourself, your own connection to your higher power. I mean, all of that coming out for you guys in group one, and just remembering again, like this initiation, a lot of times it's so many things that we wouldn't pick for ourselves, but just things that just end up happening to us, for us to like kind of navigate and move through. And also there's, I just want to say, I'm not like I've had a lot of traumatic, not ideal things happen in my life. And so I am not saying like, oh yeah, just find the golden rainbows and sparkles of the situation. Like, I'm not saying that at all, but you know, sometimes the only thing we get from a situation is surviving it, and is having compassion for ourselves and seeing how strong we are, and having so much clarity and kindness within ourselves. And so if that's true for you, then, you know, you really need to tap into that and hold that in a way that is just, again, if the only thing you learn from like a horrible situation is to be kinder to yourself and closer to God, that's all you needed to learn. And you don't need to push yourself. You don't need to excuse something. You don't need to condone something, right? We're not doing any of that toxic anything. We're just doing like this loving awareness for yourself here. Okay, I'm gonna look at your tarot cards. Wow. Okay, well, we'll start with this one. So we have Bearberry, strength. So this is just what I was talking about, of just, you know, it does take a lot of strength to want to be personally responsible for yourself. It takes strength to realize like, okay, I need to do something different here. I need to think a different way about this. I need to, you know, whatever strength you need to rely on for yourself here, don't downplay what it takes to reframe a situation, right? As humans, again, we're creatures of habit. We want to tell these stories over and over again. We want this and this thing to be the exact same way it's always been. But the strength card, again, is really about like just trusting your own inner strength, and even, again, unlocking a layer of that strength that we didn't know we had. And that only comes about from certain situations that we're kind of forced into going to. I mean, we're not forced into, we cannot do our lessons, but you know, I'm going to assume if you're watching a tarot reading on YouTube, you are someone who is willing and wants to do their lessons to be able to grow and expand in that way. And so with that, we have the Observer. So I feel like with this card, again, this is a lot of that reframe energy I was talking about in the beginning, of just, you know, kind of looking at your situations, looking at what's been going on and all of that. And then instead just being like, okay, how can I take a step back and kind of pull myself out of the situation? Again, not like minimizing. I know what it takes to do that. I know the mental strength it takes to do that, but looking at, you know, what are the ways that I actually can give myself some space to just kind of see this in a new perspective, to reframe it, to give myself some awareness, give myself some some love and compassion, and not really look at this situation doesn't have to be, you know, this horribly dreadful thing I thought it had to be. Like, how can if I'm the observer of the situation, how can I remove myself so I'm not stuck in my pain body and my emotional repeating patterns of what this means about me. Because then we have Messenger, Sirius energy, bringing harmony and balance. So again, oh, look at this. So this is like, I mean, actually all three of these cards, this is crazy. All three of these cards have the hands open. So that one, this one. So I feel like if you are not relying on God, this is a huge sign to do it. It's a huge sign to open your hands for, you know, any compassion or good or guidance that God can drop down on you. You can ask for that. And this is, again, really just about bringing harmony and balance. And just knowing that, again, I feel like this is very similar energy to Our Lady of the Inner Gate here, of just, you know, this is not punishment. This is to help you evolve on the soul level, which, again, despite what capitalism will try and sell us, that is the point of being on earth, not, you know, to climb up this invisible ladder of whatever. So really honoring that messenger energy that's been gifted to you. And then we have now is the time. And so again, a key image, I've been talking about unlocking a lot of things with this reading. So I think now's the time. Okay, it's clear. This is just about like making sure that, you know, your lessons are always going to be there. So you either deal with them now or deal with them later. So you can, this again can be practice for you to unlearn something. This can be practice for you to develop your spiritual toolkit, your healthy toolkit. This can be practice for you to get to that next level. But again, if you don't do it now, you're going to have to face your lesson eventually. There's no like avoiding the soul growth that you're going to have to do. So stick with it. If you're here, the only way out is through. You can do it, you know, one day at a time. Keep moving with all that. And then when I lean on the faith of the universe, peace becomes real. So for me, I would say when I lean on the faith of God, peace becomes real. But you know, whatever, to each their own. But so I feel like, again, this is just a reminder that you are not alone in this process, and this process isn't to punish you. This process isn't like, you know, this is, you know, you did this wrong, so this is your immediate karma, or you didn't do this thing, so now this bad thing is happening to you, right? This is really about, this is really about, you know, having how much our faith gets tested. Like there's so many times we think like, oh yeah, I'm spiritually fit, I have faith, I have trust in God, but things just went our way. They weren't uncomfortable enough for us to be like, all right, maybe I didn't like have enough faith in God. Maybe I didn't have enough faith in this, right? And so, you know, leaning on that faith of God, then peace really does become real, and it really does become something more tangible for us. And it's just one of those things that, you know, faith and trust, I talk about this all the time, but they're two things that can seem like, am I missing something? Like, why is this so hard? But we can't develop them unless we're developing them. We can't practice them unless we're practicing them. So that's why we can feel so insane doing this, because we're like, why, I thought I had this, right? But this is faith and trust are on God are two of those things that can only develop the more that we show up for ourselves and take care of ourselves, and are willing to do that. And again, it's very uncomfortable, but very worth it, in my humble opinion. Okay. So I think group one, just, I'm going to pick an affirmation to close, but I think for you guys, there's just a lot of energy around, kind of reframing your situation and not like punishing yourself and not feeling like, oh, this is happening to me because blah, 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 blah. Right. But just kind of letting that go, having faith, and just really asking yourself, you know, what stories can I let go of with this full moon? Like if I really believe God loves me and cares about me and wants what's best for me, then what do I have to stop believing if I really believe that's true? And that's, you know, easier said than done, because sometimes those stories protect us, and there are probably survival techniques and all of that in our life. But again, it's the lesson. If this group resonated with you, that's just what I'm hearing very much for you. Okay, and like I said, I'll pick one information card. Well, it flew out of the deck. I welcome miracles into my life. Beautiful. So again, I feel like if you need help from God to reframe that, ask for that, right? Like there's no, we don't actually ask God for help enough. Like, even if you pray all the time, like, we just ask for a little teeny tiny fraction of what's available to us. So, every time you open your heart up, asking for help is a miracle, relying on God is a miracle, not being so self-sufficient and like, I can do it myself, I can do this, that's a miracle. So welcoming miracles into your life. And when you open up that frequency for possibility, then you'll just see things kind of coming together in ways that you could have never, just really elegantly and in a simple way that you couldn't have done for yourself. So I welcome miracles into my life. Very beautiful. Okay, that's everything I have for you. Thank you so much for choosing to be here with me today. If you ever want any more information about me, all that is the link below. Thank you so much. Happy full moon, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Hi, everyone. Welcome. This is for everyone who picked group number 2. So as a reminder, this is a full moon, so I will be reading the cards in that way in terms of letting things go and cycles ending and, releasing all of that. So you all picked the card, Our Lady of Comfort. I love this card. It actually does come out quite a bit. I think we all need a lot of comfort day-to-day life. Just myself included, we have to remember that we are comforted with this. And I just think it's really beautiful. The heart in between the two, and then also kind of like this beautiful, like, I don't know, wrap around, cute, looks like a hug type energy. And just like a nice tree in the background. So I think this card is really just reminding us that, God is there, our angels, our guides, whatever you resonate with, all of that is there to give us comfort. We forget so much because we're like on earth and we're in physical reality and we're like, I have to do this and look at this and all this stuff. But we forget that God especially, but our higher whatever, your higher power, your angels, your ancestors, anyone resonates for you, they're there to provide us comfort. They're there to, earth is hard. Okay? It's really hard on earth. And it's really important for us to be able to connect to that comfort energy and just remember that, we can rest in God. We can find rest in God. We can accept, these things for us happening, and we can accept, this love and care and support, even if it feels like we can't. And so just remembering that, it's there for us. We forget, but it is there. And so I feel like if you need a little comfort right now, group 2, part of you does, because you picked this group consciously or subconsciously. So I think, you can just imagine you can actually give yourself a hug and say, okay, it's okay, I'm with you, it's going to be okay. You can write to God for help. You can say, please soothe my heart, please heal me, please grant me healing. You can ask for that, right? Sometimes we think like, okay, feels really good, obviously, when people in physical reality are able to affirm us and take care of us. But it's also really important for us to remember that we do have support from the other side. We do have this care and comfort available to us. But again, it's up to us to remember and connect to that and hold space for that. So if you're really resonating with this in terms of needing a little more comfort in your life, just remember you can ask. And, they say, like, we don't ask God for enough help. We don't ask angels for enough comfort. And just imagining like healing light or energy coming to you and just really, really opening your heart up to that, like from these things that can like shift our spirits, and these things that can, when you fix your mouth to pray and then you say these words, especially with someone else, it just really changes something in your body and in your spirit. So this is resonating at all, I think, group 2, just try it. And there's no need to judge yourself when you're praying. You can use like written prayers from certain religions or holy books that feel good to you, but also just, just remember you can just speak from your heart and just be authentic, and God always accepts us exactly as we are. And so just saying, whatever you need for, you can be as specific as you want, not as specific as you want. You don't have to get the words perfectly right. Like, God hears what we say, even if our words don't come out perfectly. And God hears what's in our heart, even if we can't say it perfectly or have the exact correct words or anything like that. So this card is, again, just a reminder to rely on that comfort and use it. And you don't have to punish yourself. You don't have to be a martyr. You don't have to not accept this love and care and open your heart in that way. I could really feel it, group 2, giving you a hug too from me. But yeah, so I think with this full moon, maybe you want to think about, what ways do I feel like I don't need support from the other side, or maybe what ways have I shut it off and I can actually open myself up to it a little bit more, and just kind of, again, allowing as accepting your healing and allowing that to come through could be helpful for you. Okay, so I'm gonna look at your tarot and then your oracle cards. Okay. We have Ace of Swords, Nine of Pentacles, Ten of Pentacles. Look at that. The Star, beautiful. Seven of Wands, and the Hanged Man. Okay, so I feel like, I mean, it seems like you are group 2 in physical reality. You're chugging right along. So maybe, again, this might be like just some internal things that are going on for you, but this Ace of Swords is really about boundaries. It's really about getting a fresh start after setting boundaries. It's really about, just letting things kind of unfold in a way that feels good for you and feels true for you, and just like allowing, letting your boundaries be the way, right? Sometimes we think, well, I have to adjust my boundaries so I can keep this thing in my life. But if we set the boundaries that we feel are authentic to us and resonate and are for us to be the best versions of ourselves, then the things that are for us fit into those frameworks instead of us trying to adjust ourselves for those things. So I feel like this is really about the boundaries you've set, the ways you've said no, the way you've allowed things into your life to just kind of open up. Again, just really, really important work you've been doing. And then I see like a lot of thriving off of that. So if you maybe you set a boundary and you have some doubt, was this the right thing? This is, the comforting energy is really about it was the right thing. And also I feel like, you got it, maybe it was a boundary around things in physical reality. And so maybe you're doing some of the managing of the inner reality. So maybe, okay, here's a message. So maybe it's like things look like you didn't have any internal struggle setting a boundary, because we have this Nine of Pentacles and this Ten of Pentacles right here. Nine of Pentacles is like, I got it, I'm the best, no problems, I'm clear, I know what's going on. Ten of Pentacles is about, physical reality, abundance in terms of like family and home and job and all of that. So maybe you set a boundary around that and you're thriving in these other areas, but there actually is some discomfort inside, and it doesn't feel, it was challenging for you. It was hard for you, right? Like a lot of times we're able to put this face to the world, and especially if our physical reality is lining up according to societal standards, and it can be easy for us to be like, oh no, like there's no problem, nothing happens, you all of this. So, okay, that's really what it feels like to me now. So I feel like with this, maybe you're getting some of these things in physical reality and these things are changing, but there's still some like discomfort or confusion or like not clarity going on for these things with the Nine of Pentacles and the Ten of Pentacles, and just really instead just allowing that abundance to like show up for you, and that abundance to just really honoring that. But then now I feel like the rest of your reading is really about how you soothe your inside based on the external states that are going on. So first is the Star. Love this card. It's so soothing, it's so nourishing just looking at it. And just like allowing the water to pour out, allowing these things to it's about finding balance. It's really, really nourishing. It's really about like taking care of yourself, soothing yourself with all of that. So I feel like, it's this energy of pouring back into yourself. It's this energy of like, I did the right thing. How can I affirm myself through that? So I feel like if you, just really for group 2, write a letter to yourself or say a prayer, or, just say the things that you want to hear for yourself from yourself with this. Okay. So really this is about intentionally pouring that nourishment back into yourself instead of, like denying it, instead of like pretending like you don't need to rebalance, you don't need to ground, you don't need to whatever, right? No amount of like worldly success or things going right in physical reality can override like when our soul needs some nourishment and some care. And so I feel like for this Star card, it's really important to, again, like the word nourish is just keep coming up, but just really like, how can I soothe myself? How can I be kind to myself? How can I take care of myself? How can I do all of this? These things going on, because we have the Seven of Wands right here, and Seven of Wands is about so much about inner conflict. It's so much about causing ourselves distress, overthinking a situation, or going through a hard time, or things just aren't lining up or making sense to us. So with the Seven of Wands, it's really about like how can you soothe this conflict? So maybe again, you set this boundary, or you change this thing in your life, or you took a big leap or whatever. And so this is really about, you know, how can you soothe yourself? How can you let these things, you know, be abundant for you? How can you let these things, like, how can you trust that you made the right decision? Like, what do you need? And you can journal on it. You can say, like, what do I need to feel safe right now? What do I need to feel clear right now? What do I need to feel abundant right now? Right. So any and all of that, and just really looking at the ways that this energy is, you know, just how can you soothe yourself? You know, the question is like, what would I, like, if I had X right now, I would feel better, or I really want this particular thing. Just opening up that conversation with yourself, because sometimes when we do have to set a hard boundary, and like change a lot of things in physical reality, it's, our focus is more on taking care of physical reality and cleaning up all those loose ends. And then once that is taken care of, so maybe, you know, you set a boundary, you had to move, or you had to get a new job, or you had to end a relationship or whatever, or adjust a relationship. So now this energy is really about like, okay, how can you soothe yourself through all of that? Because these two cards are very opposing energies that are going on for you here. And so just really thinking about, again, like, what can I let go of in terms of pretending like I don't need to soothe myself, pretending like I don't need to show up for myself. Because with closing your reading, we have the Hangman, which is, to me, this is like the card about stop playing yourself. Like, this is learned helplessness. This is like, you just have to surrender. You just have to let things go. You just have to be able to, you know, just let yourself, like, be like, I'm in this place right now and I need some help. Okay, I need some guidance. I need some clarity. I need things to be different. I need whatever. And so this card is, again, really about just like surrendering to the process, surrendering to things being a certain way, surrendering to, you know, maybe you need a little more time for yourself. Maybe you need your process to look like this certain way. Maybe you need, you know, I don't know, only you can answer those questions. But what I'm getting from this is like a lot of, you need comfort. I mean, this card was correct, Our Lady of Comfort, for sure. But yeah, with the rest of this reading, I'm just really seeing like, you know, there's some internal soothing that needs to happen, some internal comfort. And so this Hangman can really help you get there, and can really, you know, you have to be willing. Like, you could have all the tools in the world, but if you aren't willing to look at the ways you need to use those tools, the ways you need to show up for yourself, like, it's not going to change and you're not going to feel better. So again, the Hangman is about allowing things to be different, allowing surrender, allowing, like, you know, okay, I'm going to stop being in denial and I'm ready to like move forward with my life and take care of certain things. That is big energy with this Hangman coming out. And again, just like knowing, like, it's okay to, you know, sometimes we do these things out of like trying to protect ourselves or stay safe, or like, you know, I have to get my physical reality set up and ready to go before I can take care of myself, which again is very real. Like, I've been there. You know, there are some things that need our attention before other things, but I think you're in the place now, group 2, of like, it is time for you to turn inward and put that care and compassion and kindness on yourself, more than, you know, like some of these physical things, now that they've settled down, it's like, how can I soothe myself? Or maybe there aren't solutions yet. And so how can you soothe yourself in the meantime? How can you show up for yourself in the meantime, with all of that? Okay, and then I'm going to look at your oracle cards. Okay, well, this is just what I was talking about. So we have the Rowan flower, and we have protection. So I feel like this is, again, just what I was talking about, of like, sometimes we think we're protecting ourselves when like these old stories come up, or like, oh no, it can't be like this, or this can't be the certain way, or things have to be this particular way. What this card is really just reminding us that, you know, sometimes there's a difference between like being ready and being able to have your boundaries and to say no, and then like the hypervigilance that's like fear-based, and like, I have to protect myself all the time, I have to do this, I have to do that. So I think with this card, you know, you can really look at some of these nuanced lessons of like, you know, where am I protecting myself that it becomes chaotic like this, versus where can I trust that like I'm safe and that I can release and I can let things go. So this protection card is really about like, again, letting things go, letting things be different, just letting things, you know, trusting that you have the protection and the tools that you need, and you don't need to like force it or be hyper vigilant or just be like, you know, really intense about all these things all the time. Because going along with that, we do have the power card. So I feel like this is really, again, just a reminder that like you have more power than you think you have in this situation. And sometimes, you know, one of the most powerful things we can do is like provide comfort to ourselves, to learn how to soothe ourselves, to learn how to self-regulate, to learn how to, you know, just honor these things within us that just feel really good and just feel like really affirming, and just remembering like our power. We have so much power to place on ourselves, and also we have so much power when we're connected to our higher power. We have so much power we can channel in terms of care, in terms of taking care of ourselves, in terms of, you know, letting things unfold in a way that feels authentic and real and good and pure. And so just remembering like your power in the situation of like, you know, you can get through it, you can shift things, things can change, things can be different. And again, not just for your own power, but feeling this power of God, the power of God to comfort us, to take care of us, to show up for us. That's very, very real. And don't negate that, you know, because again, sometimes we forget. But then we have activated earth, power places, ley lines, trust where you're led. So I feel like this is really about, you know, this nourishing and letting things go. Like maybe, again, what I was talking about with protection, like maybe you want to fight because like, oh, well, before I had this boundary, you know, something was really off, or it didn't feel good, or it didn't feel like whatever. So this is really just about, you know, making sure that you trust where you're led, and trust that, you know, the unfolding, this lesson you have to learn is coming up right now and in this way, because it's the way for you to learn it. And so again, part of what comes with that is knowing that God's in charge, we're not in charge, and you know, just really connecting to where you are right now, and connecting to that power, and connecting to these things from the other side to get you through this situation and get you through these things that are going on. Because then we have ascending to new heights. So again, same vibes. I feel like this is just the layer of the more developed we get on our spiritual path, and the more lessons we go through, the more things we learn. Our lessons do get more nuanced. They get more, you know, it might feel like it's the exact same lesson, but, you know, if you're honest with yourself, it's like, okay, this is a little bit different. How is this different? This is a little bit this way instead of that way. It's a little like this instead of this, right? So ascending to new heights can really just be about remembering that this is for your soul growth. This is for, you know, learning a lesson you didn't learn before. So maybe you really learned how to do physical reality boundaries, and now you really need to look at, okay, and these are some of like my emotional boundaries, my energetic boundaries, the ways I can practice good boundaries with myself. So yeah, just ascending new heights, really important. And just remembering again, like the soul growth, that sometimes it doesn't, it's like the butterfly, right? It doesn't feel good to be in the chrysalis, to melt into goo, but when they come out, they can fly, and it's very beautiful. So just remembering, like, you know, these new heights might not always come about the way we want, or the actual things we have to go through, or the physical transformation or emotional transformation we have to go through, but it is worth it. Okay. And then we have, I let go of the shadow of the past by seeing someone for the first time with the eyes of love. That's a really good affirmation. So I feel like, honestly, group 2, I feel like this is about you. I feel like you need to see yourself differently with eyes of love. Okay. So this could be, you know, what can I put down and not fight anymore? What can I release? This could be, how can I look at, and you can free write on this for the full moon, of like ways you can, stories you want to let go. How can I look at my relationship with God differently? How can I look at my trusting differently? How can I look at this differently? This is a really beautiful affirmation for you guys. And just a reminder that, again, like we project so much of our past programming on the situations. And when it's time to unlearn that, it can be really painful, because again, going back to that protection card, a lot of these stories we tell ourselves were to keep us safe, were to keep us, you know, clear and connected through a lot of situations. So letting go of the shadow of the past, by seeing someone the first time with eyes of love, see yourself like that. Give yourself some grace and compassion, and know that, you know, you have been doing your best. You have been growing on the soul level. You have been showing up for your lessons. And that could just even be, you know, giving yourself some kindness and compassion and love and care in a way that you haven't before. That's very possible. Okay. It's a challenging task to do, but it is helpful when you do it. I can speak from experience. Okay, I'm going to close with one affirmation card for you. Love is my teacher. Okay, so again, I feel like a big thing I'm getting here with you guys in group 2 is just giving yourself comfort, giving yourself compassion, giving yourself understanding. And I think, again, this is really coming through with like love is my teacher, in terms of like, if I was really acting towards a loving place towards myself, how would I act? What would I say? What would I do to myself, for myself? And just really surrendering to that and letting love and kindness be your teacher. Okay, that's everything I have for you. Thank you so much for choosing to be here with me today. If you ever want any more information about me, all that is linked below. Thank you so much, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Hi, everyone. Welcome. This is for everyone who picked group number 3. So as a reminder, this is a full moon reading. So I will be reading the cards in that way, in terms of letting things go, cycles ending, releasing energy. That's what we have with the full moon. Okay, and so you all picked card 3, Our Lady of Becoming. So I think for you all, this is a really important card. I mean, you picked it, so it is important, but important message, that's what I would say. So this card is really, I mean, the imagery is so beautiful. This whole deck is so beautiful, but this card is really about like having faith that what you feel in your heart, like what the role you want to have in life or the things you want to do, if it hasn't manifested or come to fruition yet, or it hasn't been time yet, or it hasn't like unfolded in that way, just having faith in that vision in your heart, and knowing that like God puts those things in our hearts so that we can aspire to them and be them, and not in like, you have to do some discernment around like, do I want this in an ego way, or do I want this in a real way, right? And in an ego way would be like, well, my life isn't complete until I have this thing, or I'll feel better once I have that particular thing. Okay, these are the desires that come from your heart that are very gentle, and just kind of like a gentle push to want to do them, or it just feels like, yeah, that's just who I know I am in my heart. These are things that feel good to me, with all of that. And so this card is really just about reminding you to have faith in the process, and eventually everything connects, and eventually all our experiences add up, and they just turn into like this really clear, this becomes a really clear reason why things went the way they went, or you had to experience to get to the certain layer, the certain level. So Our Lady of Becoming is really about, just knowing that you are becoming, you're on your path, you're on your way. Again, even if you can't see the unfolding, even if it doesn't make sense, even if you feel like, okay, where is it? I'm waiting, like what's going on? This is really about having faith in the bigger plan and in the timing and the unfolding, divine timing, divine unfolding. Very annoying to the ego, but it's true. Again, God really takes care of things really elegantly and subtly and kindly, and just in a really beautiful way that we can't do with ourselves. And so Our Lady of Becoming is really about, just remembering that there are things out there for you, that you don't even know exist yet. You don't know how they're going to unfold. You don't know what's going to happen. But again, this is just a reminder that, these things, they're planted in your heart for a reason. And it's not to tease you or make you feel like you're not going to have them or anything like that. It really is just more about, letting yourself embody that, and letting yourself just kind of let go and have faith. So I think with this full moon, group 3, you can write about like, what am I afraid isn't going to happen for me, and how can I let go of that fear story, and how can I let go of some of that doubt, and how can I instead make room for faith and trust in the unfolding, and letting things happen in a way that feels, just authentic to me, and in a way that does seem like I'm trusting God, instead of just being like, well, where is it? It didn't happen yet, so it must not be happening. Okay, and then, so I'm gonna look at your tarot, and then we'll close the oracle cards as usual. So we have the 2 of Wands, then we have the Hierophant, my faves, then we have the 3 of Cups, then we have Justice, then we have the Chariot, then the Hermit. Okay, so 4 out of 6 major arcana, so maybe some pretty intense energy. So maybe group 3, maybe feel like you're like really hitting a wall with this stuff, or really just feeling like, okay, what am I doing? What's going on? What's happening? Why isn't this coming forward for me? Why isn't this coming to fruition? So I feel like, this 2 of Wands is really about having to make a decision. It's really about, maybe you thought a certain thing was going to happen in your life, or you thought things were going to go a certain way, or things were going to, whatever, unfold in a certain way for yourself, but they just haven't yet. And so I think this 2 of Wands is really like, it's contemplative, and I'm feeling some doubt with it too, of just like, well, was this the right thing? Am I Am I being unrealistic? And am I choosing something that's not actually possible for me? Am I, whatever the story is, you can just listen to it and let the ego talk and just be like, okay, yeah, okay, okay. And like, you can let it talk and know that that doesn't mean that that's the truth. Like letting the ego speak is a way to kind of like get it to shut up, because it's like we can hold space for it and then be like, okay, thank you for your opinion. Now I'm moving forward with things that I know actually feel true and authentic to me. So I feel like with this Two of Wands, it's really been a time of reflection and just of like, is this the right thing? Is this ever going to happen? Is this whatever dream I have or role I want to play or thing I want to have in my life? Like, is it possible for me? The answer is yes. Okay. It might not be in the exact way you want or the time you want or the picture of what you want. But again, like these things we feel in our heart that we are drawn to and want to have, like those things show up for us in a way that is totally authentic and clear. When it is the perfect timing. And once that happens, you'll be so grateful that you didn't rush it or push it or choose something else or settle or anything like that. So this is really about, taking a moment to pause and reflect. And it's okay to reflect, but don't go into that place of like shutting down completely or being like, oh no, I guess this didn't work for me, or this didn't work out, or it wasn't meant to be, or, whatever. That's not a place we want to get into. This is about, just really honoring that within yourself, because we have the Hierophant. This card, to me, I love the Hierophant. To me, it really represents like going back to the basics, going back to these simple ways we can take care of ourselves, going back to these ways that we can show up for ourselves and allow certain things to come into our life that maybe we override. Like, so if we're in a time of like desperation or like I don't feel the best, right, that's when we can really up like our self-care game or things that feel good for us, right? So that's maybe when we're praying a lot or meditating a lot or exercising or whatever we're doing. But then when things like kind of go back into more of, okay, physical reality feels good, so I'm going to stop doing these things. I feel like this card, this Hierophant, is really about making sure you're doing some of your self-care things, these really ancient traditional things that serve us. So praying, meditating, breath work, going for a walk in nature, taking a bath, just like these things that don't cost money, but that are so nourishing for the soul and feel really good for us. All of this energy can help you while you're, reflecting and kind of taking it in and just, doing a little bit of like soul searching and thinking what's going on. But going along with that, right next to it, we have the Three of Cups. So I feel like also making sure you're having a good time. Okay. Don't get so like, sometimes when we go through a hard time or like things aren't happening or we need to be a little patient, we're like, all right, I'm going to figure this out. And this is my healing. And this is what's going to happen. And it's going to be like this. But that doesn't help anyone. And, we can get so like, we can block things because our channel is so like shut down and serious and whatever. And so instead, this is really about, this Three of Cups is really about making sure you have some lightheartedness with it, like taking care of ourselves and showing up for ourselves doesn't have to be so serious, doesn't have to be so like do or die, this is the end, this is what I need to have happen, right? It can really just be about like, Hierophant, this is how I'm showing up for myself, this is what I need in my life, this is what's going on. And then like having some lightheartedness. And this also, of course, is about community. It's about showing up for yourself. It's about taking care of yourself. All of that is really important. And so just really, again, holding space for yourself and just letting yourself like have this, the ways you're doing self-care, but like, can you do it in a community? Can you join a meditation group? Can you go for a walk with your friend? Can you like laugh? Can you play a game? Can you, like taking care of some of these things? Because sometimes when we get really focused and take our energy off of, if we get really focused on like, where's this thing? It didn't happen. I'm not becoming, things aren't unfolding for me, right? It's like watching a pot boil, like the water just doesn't come because we're so focused on like, where is it? Where is it? Where is it? But instead we need to go inward and think a little bit more about like, pulling our energy off that and just, doing the next right thing and just taking care of our day-to-day life right here and right now, and kind of balancing some of these like larger questions of things with ways that we can show up for ourselves and ways that we can have fun and enjoy like our present moment. Like we don't want to wish all our time away. We want to enjoy the moments we're in, and striking that balance between these are ways I can show up for myself and these are ways that I need a little bit, these are ways I can show up for myself to plan for the future. And then these are ways that I, need to have a little bit more fun and lightheartedness and freedom with myself. So I think finding that balance here is really coming out for you. And just, again, having faith in this process of like becoming, knowing everything is on purpose, everything is adding up, you're not being punished, things aren't like, not happening to like punish you or to make you feel bad, right? These things are all happening in divine timing and in the order they need to happen. Because then moving forward, we have this beautiful Justice, Chariot, Hermit coming out combo, big lovely combo here with these guys. Okay, so look at that energy. All right, so I feel like with Justice, this card is really about, the scales are on the cards. This is about things balancing out. This is about like, sometimes we feel like things aren't happening because we're just thinking about that thing like 24/7. But if you really are focused on cultivating moments of peace and joy and happiness and stillness and reflection in your day-to-day life, it's like it takes some of the pressure off of, this thing not happening in this way. So justice can really be about, the ways that things even out, and even, so the scales are on here and then the sword's here. And so the sword is really about like having boundaries, and it's about like, having these things like knowing, okay, I'm going to focus on the things I can control and showing up in this way and these things happening, but I'm also going to focus on my life and myself and letting things come to be that feel good to me and letting things happen that, like feel really good. And so this scales here is really about things coming into balance. And that includes like calling back your energy of like, what can I control and what can I control? And like trusting in the unfolding, trusting in the becoming, and knowing that you don't need to like do anything or force anything. Like it's going to unfold in its right timing. And the justice that will be there will be like, okay, this is why I had to go through this, or this is why this took so long, or this is whatever. And even if you don't know, it's just a faith practice, it really is just a practice in letting things unfold in the way that they need to in the time that they're supposed to, and remembering like God is God and we are not in charge of these things that we think we're in charge of. We're not in charge of things unfolding in the way we think we are, like it's God, it's whenever God says. Like we might have the desire earlier on, but when it actually comes to fruition, physical reality, that's like up to God. It's not up to us. And then with the Chariot, I feel like this is a card of forward movement, but also a pull between the head and the heart. So there can be this energy of like, just really feeling like, is this the right thing? Is this really, can I wait this long? Can I do this? Can I do that? So maybe for group 3, I'm getting a little bit of like control energy, needing to let go of control here for you guys. So I feel like with this Chariot, again, it's going to be about like letting things go, releasing things, and just kind of making sure that you keep moving forward on the path, even though you might feel, when we make new patterns for ourselves, it can feel confusing and it can feel like, which way do I go? What thing do I do? But just remember, like you have to be consistent in your change and consistent in this out of your comfort zone that doesn't feel the best for yourself. Even if you feel like, okay, this is what I know I have to do, it still doesn't feel like, oh yeah, I'm gonna do it, I'm so excited, right? There's still this like, doubt can come up when we are moving forward in faith and trust, just because we're moving out of our comfort zone. But it doesn't mean that we're choosing wrong. It doesn't mean that we made the wrong choice. It doesn't mean that we're doing the wrong thing. It's just, about this pull between like patterns that are ingrained in us and then choosing the new healthier thing. And then we have the Hermit here. So I feel like, again, just a reminder that this is an internal process. This is inner work. Even if you do have love and care and support around you, which is great, the Hermit just reminds us that this is a process that no one can do for us. And we do need to show up for ourselves, and we do need to go inward, right? The real inner work is like where magic happens, where things change, where you really do come out on the other side. So this becoming process is really about, that chrysalis phase of going inside, of like transforming from the inside, being different, changing things in that way. And so again, this Hermit energy is just really about like knowing that you do need to go inside, you do need to have this process, you do need to have these things like unfolding in the way that feels authentic to you, but also is on God's timing. And that is dealing with a lot of like limiting beliefs that will come up, or things that will come up that might not feel the best, or ways that we can feel uncertain of like what's going on. And then the Hermit's really nice because we have this guiding star there on this card. So just remembering that like this is for a reason. There is something pushing you. You will get to the other side. It will be fulfilling. It will be abundant. And so part of why we can resist this process is because we feel like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to be in isolation. I want it to be this particular way, right? So maybe this full moon, if you want to journal on like, what are some fears I have around that? Why am I resistant to that? What's coming up? No judgment, but it's just to look at it, and then you can release it after that. So the Hermit is really about that. Okay, and just remembering again, all of these things are necessary parts of the process to get you to where you want to go. There's no skipping steps. Okay, we can't. I wish, but we can't. Okay, you know, that's part of this. Okay, I'm gonna look at your oracle cards. Wow. Okay, I mean, this is just what I was saying, this magic card, and just remembering that like this is a magical process and it will serve you long term, but it is up to you to connect to that magic on the inside, and just really remember that like, you know, you have to let go and let God, and the magic happens when you stop trying so hard, when you focus on the things you can control, when you really turn inwardly and let those things unfold in their time and in their way. And letting that happen for yourself, because we have, what do we want? Oh, this one. We'll start with this one. I create mindful moments throughout the day, reminding myself I am love and miracles are natural. So I feel like, again, this card is really about like just remembering that, you know, this process, it's part of trusting the process, letting things unfold, and just remembering like, if you can, what I was talking about, taking your energy off of like, where is it? Why didn't it happen? Why isn't it becoming? Why isn't this? Like, just taking a moment to just be like, okay, can I affirm myself? Can I be like, this is unfolding exactly as it could. It's safe for me to let go. It's safe for me to trust. It's safe for me to, you know, whatever. But this is really just about remembering that, you know, you are able to have miracles happen. Things are always working out for your highest good. You have to convince yourself that like whatever is unfolding is for your highest good, that, you know, what God has decided to have happen is for your benefit. And so if you are spiritually mature enough to do that, then you can take this moment to remember that, okay, miracles are natural, things are working out for me. How do I see this happening in a way that is beneficial to me, even if it doesn't feel like that? And then I think a way to do that for you guys in group 3, what we're really getting is like, again, this really, really reflective energy we had on this 2 of Wands, because look at 2 of these cards. We have pause for thought, and we have earth pulsing, pulse of the mother, slow down, time in nature. So I feel like, and then closing with the Hermit, again, it's like an internal reflective process. I feel like group 3, you're kind of in a phase of needing some time for yourself, of going inward, of doing some soul searching, of kind of like, you know, there's a time in our life where we're in this like flow phase, and a time in our life where we're like in a little more of a, not stuck, but like still, we'll say still phase. And you really have to go inward and take inventory and do some self-reflecting and take stock within yourself, and kind of like let these energies assimilate until you're ready to go back into this flow phase again. So just again, pausing. If you are somewhere where nature is accessible to you, nature is always healing to spend time in. Nature is always healing to, you know, be able to put your feet on the earth, to take a deep breath, to go one thing at a time, to do all of that. And so these things are really just a reminder that when you do take a pause, when you do take some time for yourself, like when we are still, that's when the energy can come. And just even this Hierophant energy of like, again, these very traditional ancient healing techniques that we know exist in so many cultures across time, and just really using that. So just like pausing, breathing, meditating, praying, going out in nature, like these very simple things can really serve you in a big way. And just again, slow down, pause for thought, go inward. That's what I'm really hearing for you guys. The group 3 is like a lot of inward time, a lot of soul searching, a lot of like turning into yourself is definitely coming out, because we have your last oracle card, the Revolutionary. So this card to me is just, again, like just knowing that you are here for a bigger purpose. You are here for these things that will benefit you. You are here for you know, this purpose that you have, your revolutionary path, you know, and that could just be doing something different than, you know, what your family did, or breaking this generational chain, or doing this other thing, right? So the Revolutionary is about, you are here to blaze your own trail, to set a path, to do all of those things, and knowing that it does take time. And again, knowing that you are becoming it is becoming more clear, even if you're not quite sure how yet, or if it's happening. But that's just a nice little affirmation, you know, to remind you that, like, you know, these things take time. and it takes, you know, a little bit longer time to have the miracle and have things unfold in a divinely perfect way than like rushing or settling or anything like that. So just remembering that, you know, these things are working out for your highest good, and it is important for you to trust that if you want like a very full, abundant life and amazing, like that's going to take a little bit more time than just, you know, this average run of the mill, like, okay, I could just be doing this, this, and this thing. But if you really want this amazing, extravagant, special, extraordinary life that's been planned for you, then it might take a little bit more time with that. Okay, I'm going to pull one affirmation to close the reading for you guys. This one fell out, so we'll take it. I let grace lead the way. Very beautiful. Okay, so this is, again, just remembering that, like, if this process does feel uncomfortable, if it does feel like I don't want to go inward, I don't want to think about this stuff, I don't want to deal with that, this is a reminder that, you know, grace is leading the way. All you're asked to do with this beautiful staircase here is just take one step at a time, one thing at a time. God will take care of the rest. God will show you what to do. But it's up to you to just know that you have to take each step at a time, and you just have to do what's asked of you in each individual moment. And, you know, when you surrender that and let grace and the unfolding and the gentleness that like we are always guided be, then that is what will help us get through these moments of internal processing and moving into this becoming energy of things becoming and like our destiny becoming fulfilled. Okay, that's everything I have for you. Thank you so much for choosing to be here with me today. If you ever want any more information about me, all that is linked below. Thank you so much, and I hope you have a wonderful day.